have it. The innings is over, and now all the players have returned into the dressing rooms to pack up, and they might be wandering out just now just to pack up the marquee area and to get all their stuff inside, and got to get home and start preparing for everything that's ahead tomorrow. Yep, looks like they're packing up their stuff outside, tucking away the marquees so that they can get them out tomorrow morning for everything that happens tomorrow. So what will happen tomorrow, we will see. For the premiership of the F2 division, we will be seeing North Eltham Wanderers with a target of 198. So Diamond Creek were able to reach 197 off their 68 overs, going at 2 3/4 of a runs per over, just somewhere around there. They didn't reach the 3 runs per over mark, but they were there, 2.8, 2.9, that sort of area, and they've been able to set North Eltham Wanderers a significant total. It's going to be quite a difficult run chase because Coventry Oval is quite a large oval. It obviously favours the bowling. The thick grass on the infield and the outfield means that run scoring through the covers is not the easiest thing to do, which is why just scoring a 200 score on Coventry Oval is quite significant in comparison to other grounds where it might be just par. So this is a very large total. It's a very confronting total. It's a very significant total. It's going to be very challenging for North Eltham to chase it down, and we'll be getting a sense of what they're going to be doing next tomorrow. So tomorrow is the run chase. So let's just go through what we've seen today. So with the new ball, North Eltham Wanderers were only able to remove one of the Diamond Creek batsmen, which was in the 7th over. The score was 1 for 11, and Diamond Creek were able to bat out the most difficult part of the game, the first 10 overs, only losing the 1 wicket and going at 1 run and over just about, which is perfectly respectable. So after 11 overs, the score was 12 for 1. And then approaching the second lot of 20, we saw run scoring a bit more frequently, although this was not particularly through aggressive and significant run chases. This was mostly through just edges, the ball not quite reaching the middle of the bat, and it was through edges in the down to third man, that sort of thing. And so Diamond Creek's runs were quite edgy, quite uncertain, quite unconvincing, but they were able to work through it. They didn't, throw the wickets away. They didn't fall under the pressure of the situation, and they just kept things going as good as they could. And then eventually they were able to increase the run rate from about 1 run and over to 1.5 runs and over. So after 15 overs, the score boosted to 22, and then that was a significant launching pad to bat out the most difficult first quarter of your innings, losing just the 1 wicket, going at a reasonably good run rate. Suggested there was a very good foundation upon which a very large score could be built. Then a bit of a problem happened when they lost the 2nd wicket, so it was 2 for 22, and certainly there was, certain rumbling, certain uncertainty, certain sensitivities, certain nerves that were being frayed at that moment. But for the 3rd wicket, it lasted, it didn't last that long. It only lasted for the 7 overs from the 16th over till the 23rd over, but it involved a lot of runs, and so that was really what changed the narrative of the game. So the score was 22 for 2 after 16, so 1.5, 1 1/3, that sort of run rate. And then the run rate by the time the third wicket fell at 62 was after the 23rd over, and that time the run rate was up to 2.5. So all those runs that were scored from the 16th over to the 23rd over boosted the score quite significantly, not only in terms of the raw numbers of going from in the 20s to into the 60s, but in the momentum, in the significance, in the context of the game. Suddenly Diamond Creek, it became normal for Diamond Creek to be scoring at about 2.5 runs and over throughout their innings, and that changed the way they approached the innings, and that meant that North Eltham Wanderers had to worry constantly about not conceding too many runs and being more defensive. And so North Eltham Wanderers were put on the back foot, and Diamond Creek at least had a certain level of confidence and momentum, so that even when they lost wickets, even when there was uncertainties, even when there were problems, there was enough momentum carrying them forward that even just inertia on its own was able to help Diamond Creek along. Which is why after the third wicket fell, even when things were dicey, there was a lot of appeals, there was a lot of edges, there was a lot of uncertainty, they were able to keep the scoreboard ticking over quite remarkably, so that by the time the fourth wicket fell in the 38th over, the score was 104. So on those 15 overs between the loss of the third wicket and the fourth wicket involved 40 runs. So sticking to that good run rate, wasn't the most flashy way that they scored. You know, there was a few boundaries here and there, but there was also lots of edges, lots of bad shots, lots of ugliness. But overall, it was quite a significant contribution that Diamond Creek were able to make, getting into the 100-run mark, and getting up, scoring just still about 2.5 to 2 2/3, 2 3/4, that sort of area in terms of the run rate. So that then, unfortunately, a problem came up, because then the fifth wicket did not last very long. It only lasted till the score was 110 in the 42nd over, and that's when things were looking a bit dicey for Diamond Creek, because they'd lost 5 of their batsmen and the score was only on 100. Exactly what type of score could they potentially make here now was starting to become a bit more troubling. But keep in mind that still the run rate was pretty good. 2.5 was still just about the run rate, even when that fifth wicket fell. So that when the sixth wicket partnership came together, which lasted from the 42nd to the 53rd over, so 11 overs, they scored 28. So 28 runs from 11 overs, continuing on that same run rate despite losing 5 wickets and then losing the 6th wicket at 138. Then there was another good partnership from the 6th wicket to the 7th wicket, went from the 53rd over to the 59th over, taking the score an extra 20 runs, so the score went from 138 for 6 to 158 for 7. And then by that time it was time for the tail to wag, and so they were able to, they lost another wicket along the way, getting to 182 for 8, and then they were able to get through the remainder of the overs, getting into the high 190s. So that demonstrates that other than when they lost those 2 wickets in a short period of time, which was the 5th wicket and the 4th wicket in a short distance of time, other than that there was no losing wickets in clusters. Every partnership had its own strengths and weaknesses. It continued on from where the previous one left off, and it laid the foundation for the next one. And so throughout the entirety of the entire Diamond Creek innings, there was always momentum going forward. There was always people willing to play their shots and be aggressive. And so throughout the entirety of this innings, Diamond Creek were able to show immense confidence, unwilling to show any nerves. They didn't look like they were being overwhelmed by the situation, and they continued on throughout the course of the entire innings. And it was only really when the last two batsmen, the number 9 and number 10, came together that Diamond Creek looked like they weren't in a position or a confidence that they could actually continue on this scoring. So throughout the entirety, when you had recognised batsmen out there making scores, making contributions and doing what was necessary to keep the scoreboard ticking over, they always demonstrated a great deal of gusto and confidence, and it was quite impressive, quite significant. So that was the Diamond Creek. As for the North Eltham Wanderers bowlers, you would have to say that after they noticed that they were not taking the wickets in the way that they would have expected, there wasn't really any attempt whatsoever at changing things up in a significant way to try to break the partnership and alter the way that the batsman was scoring, try to interfere with the batsman's momentum. There was nothing really proactive about how the North Eltham Wanderers captain went about it. He stuck to the 2 slips and a gully for most of the entire innings. He stuck to mostly defensive fielders along in front of the wicket in order to stop runs from drives being conceding runs. And then when it came to being defensive in the last hour and a half of the innings, he just stuck fielders at long on, long off and deep mid-wicket / cow's corner, and that was really it. It was just a matter of clogging up the boundaries down the wicket and then asking the bowlers to bowl full and just leaving gaps at fine leg and third man, and just hoping that the bowlers did not bowl anything short and wide that could have been hit in those areas. And so there was lack of imagination. The bowlers tended to have long spells. There was no attempt at bringing short fielders in close in front of the wicket. There was no attempt at switching up the bowlers to try different combinations, different partnerships, different matchups. There was no attempt at keeping the batsmen on their toes by constantly changing the bowlers around. All the possibilities of what a fielding captain can do in terms of trying to wrestle back control of the innings and not allowing the batting team to control the narrative, to control the momentum, to dictate terms, was not taken up. And so in the end it was a very conservative, defensive form of captaincy that the North Eltham Wanderers captain brought to the table today, and it has not paid off. Diamond Creek have been too proactive, too aggressive, too confident, and they have not been cowed and cornered and controlled through the North Eltham Wanderers style of play. So all the kudos belong to Diamond Creek for their aggressive and confident and very exciting style of cricket, and just crosses belong to North Eltham for being too conservative, not trying to anything different, constantly just feeling like they're not really chasing the play, they're not really worried about what's happening, they just seem to be sitting back and waiting for things to happen. That's not to say that the bowlers did not try to be as aggressive as they could. There was certainly a lot of confident and aggressive issues in terms of the bowlers. They tried to bowl bouncers, they tried to bowl Yorkers, they tried interesting bowling styles. There was certainly a lot of pace, a lot of swing, a lot of aggression, Yorkers, slower balls. So the bowlers did an excellent job. I thought the North Eltham Wanderers bowlers tried everything reasonably that they could in order to get themselves into a good position and actually take wickets and actually threaten the batsmen and actually stop them from scoring. So certainly I don't think that the North Eltham Wanderers bowlers could have bowled any better than they did, because they gave it as good a shot as they could. Alright, so 198 runs to win tomorrow. But until then, it's time to say goodbye. We will see you back here at Coventry Oval tomorrow to watch day 2 of the grand final in the F2 grade of the 2017-18 season, Diamond Creek 1 versus the North Eltham Wanderers. You have been watching Channel 8, the local sports network, in association with our partners Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio, and I have been your host, Chukka Wilson. Thank you very much for sticking to this broadcast and watching through it, and we will hope that you come back tomorrow to watch the remainder of this grand final, and we will see a conclusion to this match, and someone will be crowned as the F2 grade premiers tomorrow. So we will enjoy your company tomorrow, and we will see the conclusion of the 2017-18 cricket season. Until then, goodbye.
Okay, we can go.
Finally.
Where's the parking stub? We need to get it validated.
I gave it to you.
No, you didn't. I gave it to you.
No way. Maybe you gave it to a shuck.
Me? I never touched that ticket.
Well, now we're gonna have to pay the maximum charge.
We? It's your car, buddy.
Can't we split it?
Sure, you two can.
I will take public transportation.
I dare you.
It's never gonna set you free. Make out all the legal secrets and the stories that he told to you. Lose out trying just to find out where the power slipped away from you. Never know where you fall. Never gonna set you free. Cheapskate romantic. Oh. the pretty girls in magazines. They can't know about the problems in the pages of your history. Never gonna let it go. Never gonna let it go, ever. Cheapskate romantic, he's never gonna set you free. Cheapskate romantic, oh, oh. Up at 10 to 4, just like 1,000 times before, on 1,000 other days. We took a walk in Silver Springs, I didn't even say a thing, and then it all just disappeared. I was there the day the river went dry. I just watched it flow away. I just stood and watched the river die. 'Cause when all is gone and nothing else remains, you just hope for rain. Saw the dried out riverbed. You broke the silence and you said, where did all that water go? I didn't know, so I replied, it's just the nature of the tide. But you knew better. Watched it flow away. I just stood and watched the river die. 'Cause when all is gone and nothing else remains, you just hope for rain. Took you home, you said goodnight. I watched you fade into the light, and then you vanished through the door. My skin is dry as desert air, and there's water, water everywhere, but I'm not thirsty. I just watched you float away. Oh, I just stood and watched the river die. 'Cause when all is gone and nothing else remains, you just hope for rain. Oh. just hovering. I was a soldier boy in the twilight of my youth, when I still could feel love and a trust in above for the truth. I fought with bravery, then I left my gun behind. But the misery I've seen never wiped itself clean from my mind. Now I never ever close my eyes completely when I'm sleeping. sat down to take a breath, but it never